Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday to you, and happy second day of summer, I guess. Yesterday was the first day of summer here, so that's always exciting. I'm so glad to have you with me today. You're definitely going to want to check out today's cards, which are all about the Sweet Citrus stamp set and dies. My name is Lori DeGroot from Loretta Marie Crafts, and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Calgary, Alberta. And I come live here on Thursdays so that I can share fun tips, ideas, inspiration with you to help you take your paper crafting supplies and turn them into beautiful projects. So I've got one special card here today featuring the Sweet Citrus Hybrid Dies and Embossing folder. So if you haven't seen these hybrids before, there's a couple in the catalog right now. Then you're going to want to see how these come together. And then I've got a really cute, I'm a little obsessed with them, set of note cards featuring the stamp set itself. So it's so cute. So yeah, hopefully you guys are doing well. June here can be kind of a crazy time. So we're almost in the home stretch here. So I've got my son's birthday party this weekend, and then his birthday next week, and the last day of school is next Thursday, and then we are ready for summer to come. I am ready to just take a rest here from some crazy times. Yesterday was free shipping, so if you took advantage of the free shipping with Stampin' Up, I hope that you did take advantage of it and that you're excited about your new products that are coming, or you got some basics to stock up with all the new colors. There's lots of fun things to get, but you can also shop anytime, and if you ever need help, you can always just let me know. And if you want to be kind of told or reminded about any sales or deals, or say any of my classes or things like that, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter, for my email list, and then you'll be sure to find out when all these things are going on. I'm going to post a link here that you can click if you want to, and then you can sign up easily for my newsletter. And when you sign up for my newsletter, or my email list, I should say, you will get a free tutorial to say thank you for signing up. It's actually for 2 cards featuring the Cheerful Daisies bundle. And then I send out a weekly newsletter every Friday where you get a free PDF of what I do here on Thursdays. So it's a great reference, right? So then you can go back, and then you've got the dimensions and the products I used and a picture, and then a link to come back here and watch the video if you want to recreate those cards. And then, of course, you can find out about all my classes and Stampin' Up! Sales and promotions and stuff. So don't forget to sign up if you haven't done that before. Now, let's just get to the crafting today. How about it? So we'll come down to my desk, and we're going to start with the card that's all about the dies and the embossing folder. So first, here's the Sweet Citrus stamp set. So this first came out in the January to April mini catalog. It is carried over into the annual catalog. And I haven't played with it before now. So I just got it a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month or so ago. But it's so much fun, and it just screams summer, right? So it is the perfect thing to kick off our summer with here. And so these are the coordinating dies that go with it. So you stamp out this whole image here, which you're going to see in a minute. And then you've got the little flowers and the leaves. Okay, so the dies are pretty simple because they are meant to go with this embossing folder. Look how awesome this is. So we've got a 3D embossing folder here, and you can cut it out at the same time. So that's what we're going to show you first here. So first we're going to grab just a piece of white cardstock, and this is going to be the background for our card. And so I'm just going to straight up emboss this one to create a background. So this is just something simple you can do, nothing crazy or complicated about it. So you just need your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and you will need a full-size one, obviously, to fit the folder in it. And so you need plate 1, and then plate 4 when you're doing these thick embossing folders. So I got a piece of cardstock, just 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to just put it in here. There's a little line here. You can see that black line that helps you put your cardstock in straight. Not all patterns matter to be straight, but some do, so that always helps. And then you just want to put the hinge in first, just to protect your folder, and then you just kind of run it through your machine here. And then we've got the magic, right? If you get to see that in the camera. So you can see all that lovely, fun citrus that we've got embossed. And because it's 3D, it's got some fantastic texture on it. Looks so cool. So now I'm going to show you how you can use the dies in the embossing folder together. So I want to make some lemons. So I'm going to use a lemon lolly cardstock. And then you're going to grab your embossing folder and then your dies. And you're going to know that you're putting it in the right way because it only goes on one way. So it goes on the side where the Stampin' Up! Symbol is. We can do this. And you're just going to line it up with the raised image. So it kind of like sits in place, right? So it's happy there. And then you're going to put your cardstock on top of that. Close it up. Then we need our platform 1 again. And then remember the hinge goes in first, and then your number 4 plate. And then we're going to run it through. And then with one pass through your machine, you're going to get embossed and cut out images. So fun. So there's another set of these in the catalog, the trees, hybrid trees, where you get like the tree rings. So that's kind of, if you like this idea. So we're going to open this up and then look at this. You get the pieces that they are embossed and cut out at the same time, like magic. So there's definitely been a couple of these. I think this is maybe, I don't know, the 3rd one, but this is the first time that I'm personally really playing with it. And so it's a lot of fun. All right, so we want those on our card. And then of course you could save this for a different project if you want. I'm just going to tuck that over here. And then let's start putting our card together. So I wanted to go bright, and I was trying to think, my sister went to Italy a few years ago, and I loved all the lemon stuff that she found. And this is the color that made me think of the kind of the stuff that she brought back or the pictures she took. And this is Tahitian Tide. And it looks really bright on the camera. I don't know if it looks bright on your end, but it is one of the 2022 to 2024 in colors. And it is perfect for summer. It is bold and vibrant and so much fun. And so that is going to be the base of our card. But this card, this is just the background. And so you can use any color that you think looks good with the lemons. But I kind of wanted to go for this summer vibe. And then I'm going to put this white embossed one as the background. And so sometimes when I'm putting an embossed paper onto my card, I like to use my Seal Plus as opposed to my Seal, just to make sure it's stuck on really well, just with the raised parts of the cardstock there. And so this is, which way do I want this to go? This is just a simple background. If you wanted to get fancy and add more detail, so remember card making is all about layers, and so you can keep adding layers as you want to go on. But you could grab a blending brush and you could add a little color to the raised fruit here, or you could get watercolor mark or what am I trying to say? The painting brushes, and you can add color that way. I'm just going to keep mine white, but that's just a couple of different things you can do. And then I want to add a little bit of twine. I think I was supposed to add it on before I put it on my card. But I've got this great baker's twine. So this also comes in all the in colors. So this is, like I said, Tahitian Tide, which is the spun blue. And so maybe I can still tuck it under there. I meant to put that on first. There's always something that I forget. So this is important when you're card making. You just have to go with it sometimes. So it doesn't always have to be perfect the first time around. Now I'm not going to get it under there. So we're just going to put it on to the front of my card. So you just got to adapt. My son was making a craft yesterday and he was unhappy with how some things were going. And I was like, sometimes crafts are just a learning process and you just kind of go with the flow and you're not going to get it perfect the first time, and that's okay. But that's going to work. You could tuck it behind the white cardstock before you put it on your card if you want. So then we've got our little collection of lemons. And then the dies, you'll see here that you've got this little leaf image. So you could stamp and cut out, or you could just cut it straight out of cardstock. So I've already cut out 3 here, and this is Granny Apple Green. And then we're just going to make a little collage of all our fruit here. So I want this one at the front. So we've got the full one, the slice, and the little quarter section here. And I'm going to use my Seal Plus again to put this onto my card. And then we're going to just go ahead and put adhesive on everything, and then I can kind of arrange at once how I want it to look on my card. I don't know, do any of you watching, do you have this bundle yet? Have you played with it? I just noticed today that the dies here are on back order, so just if they are something that you want, just keep your eye out for when they come back in stock. It looks like it's going to be maybe in July sometime. So I'm just going to go loose here. And I got the circle one, then the quarter, then the full lemon. And then this I'm going to put on with dimensionals, so it's going to kind of sit there. We can go maybe a little bit higher up. And then before I stick everything down, I'm also going to tuck the leaves kind of under where I want them. So maybe like that. No right or wrong way, just however you want this to look. I think I'm going to tuck that one in there. And then I just press it down. I'm all about making it the easiest as possible. And then I want to tuck this one. I just want to raise this one up a bit. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals here. And we'll put this guy on. And then we just need a sentiment, right? So I'm going to add a bit more twine. So I'm going to use the same Tahitian tied twine and kind of fold it back and forth a couple times. And then let's see how long. So that's about 15 inches. And when you're putting twine on your card, whatever you like, if you like to tie a bow, if you like to fold it back and forth, kind of like I do, there's no right or wrong to it here. And then I'm going to grab a glue dot, put it in the middle there. And just going to add, and then we'll put our sentiment on over top. So we'll just grab, I'm going to use just a little strip scrap paper here, and there's lots of great sentiments. I'm going to start with enjoy the sweeter things in life. So let's grab a block, and I'm just going to stamp it in black. But if you had this blue ink pad, then you could do it in blue as well. That would look good. And it should fit. This is like a 1/2 inch strip of white cardstock, so it's going to fit just perfect in there. And then sometimes I just like to cut it on an angle like that. And I'm just going to lay it over top. So I think I'm going to put my dimensionals right on my card. So I kind of get it where I want it. I guess I want it to be over this. And you can move things around if it's not quite right. That's all right. Something like that. That looks good. And then that's a bit long, so we'll just trim that one off. And if you want to add some embellishments, you can. So I was just kind of looking through my stash to see what I had, and I found these pastel adhesive backed sequins. I say this every week, but the embellishments are really awesome this year. Look at all the embellishments right now, and you can find the perfect combination of colors for your project. So I'm going to, there's blue here, so it's technically balmy blue, but I think this, you can't tell, right? It looks awesome for this card as well. Let's see. Where do I want to put them? Something like that. Oop, that one came off. Wherever you want. Move those out of the way. And then that is our first card. So just featuring, oops, the embossing folder there. Okay, so now we're going to to do some stamping, and if you're watching, I'm going to ask you to comment. I'd like to know if you want to see a lemon card, a lime card, or a grapefruit card. So I have made a set of 3, and so I will show you all 3, but I think we're just going to have time to stamp one of them today. So if you are watching, I want to know which one is going to be your favorite, and I will make that one. And then I'll show you how to do the other 2 after. Okay, Cheryl says lime. She's the first vote in. She win. So we're going to do some stamping. So this stamp set has an outline, and then it's got the inside. So we're going to stamp the outline first. And I find with these ones that are kind of like, you can see the lime could get squishy, you just kind of want to lay it flat on your table and then pick it up, as opposed to trying to put it onto your block, because you might not get it totally straight. You might bend it, right? So if you just pick it up with your block, then you're going to get it the right way. So let's make the lime one. So I'm going to use Parakeet Party. So this is another one of the in colors, and it's such a fun green, and it's perfect for limes. And so we're going to start with the outline, and we're going to create a background on our card. So this is just 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to stamp it 2 times. So there's 1. And then 2, kind of like that. All right, now, oh, I need to get that open. So then we're going to do the inside. So we're just going to clean this off with our chamois. Okay, and then I just like to tap it a few times just in case it's wet. Just get that off. Then we're going to grab the inside. So they are also together, so it's nice that you can just stamp them all at one time. And then, of course, this coordinates with the die, so you could stamp them all one time and cut them out all one time. And then to do the inside, we're going to stamp off just to give some different dimensions. So you just stamp it off one time, and then you stamp in the inside. So photopolymer, you can just see through and get it pretty accurate of where you want it to go. Stamp off there. Just kind of keep turning it till you're happy. They're the cutest limes. So much fun. Where do I want to put this? All right, now it looks a little plain, so we're going to add in some leaves. So garden green, I found, looks really good. So we're going to grab the leaves in a block here. And then you can kind of just randomly add them along the edges to kind of just fill in all the blank space. So some can be one way, some can be the other way. Oops. Just make sure not to stamp on top of your limes. I almost did that there, didn't I? Maybe one there. This is so fun. So obviously you just can change the colors up to make lemons. Lemon Lolly has come just in time to help you stamp the perfect lemons. And we'll take that one there. And then see how it just kind of fills in that space nicely without too much fuss there. So that's awesome. So that's our background. And then we're going to put on our card and then add a couple other details here. So I'm just going to use a white card base, and then I'm going to mat it on a piece of Parakeet Party just to make it pop a little bit. So I've cut this just 1/8 of an inch larger, so 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So we'll just put that on, and then we'll put it onto our card base, which is just a regular thick basic white card base. All right. And just line it up till you're happy. Okay, so then that same twine that we used before, the baker's twine, like I said, it comes in all of the in colors, the 2022-24. So we've got the blue, the green, if you've got Sweet Sorbet, and then there's the Orchid Oasis and Starry Sky. So this is kind of a fun little set of twine to have for your cards. And then I wanted to add a little detail. So I thought that I would stamp the flowers so that you can see there's these cute little flowers here. So there's a little set of 3, and then there's a single flower that you can stamp as well. So let's use Lemon Molly, just because these colors look good together. So I'm just going to stamp that. And then there's little centers for the flowers. So let me just show you. Okay, so you've got the 2 little dots here and the 1 little dot there. So those are perfect for your flowers. So these 2 are actually stuck together. And then there's our single one. So believe it or not, the 2, it's like perfect distance. I just got to lean over here and see what I'm doing. Perfect distance for the small flowers. If you can see that. There we go. And then we'll grab that little guy, the single, and he'll do the bigger flower. Okay, and then we're going to cut them out. So what's nice about this is that you can just stamp it in the 3, and then you've got this little 3 set of dies that all goes together. So you can you can cut out all 3 flowers at once. And there's actually 2 of these in the die set. So you could actually cut out 2 sets at once. If you were cutting a bunch of flowers, you could do a bunch at the same time. So we'll need our platform 1 and 2 now that we're doing dies. Cutting plate, our cardstock, and then put our little flower on there, or our die on there. Just gonna, well, I guess it moves. Okay. Hold it in place. Run it through, and then we're gonna have 3 little flowers to use. There we go. Okay, and then for our sentiment for this one, I did the same kind of thing where I just used the strip, but I'll show you on the next 2 cards. Definitely stick around so that you can see the grapefruit and the lemon card, and you can see that each one I just changed it up just slightly, and I wanted to use all the different sentiments so that you could see all the different sentiments. So this time, I thought the lime wanted the sentiment that said, "Have a zesty birthday." Limes are my fave. I love limes. I love Mexican food, and so those 2 things go really well together. I made a key lime pie for my dad's birthday, so I had bought a bunch of limes. I bought too many, so now I've been having limes in my water. Perfect summery thing to do. All right, so I just got my 1/2 inch little piece of white cardstock, and that's all we're going to do there, and then just trim it off to size. So this time with my twine, I'm just going to make it look like a big loopy bow without actually tying the bow. And I'm just going to put a little adhesive down and lay it down like that. Then I'm going to put a dimensional on either end of my sentiment. And we're going to add our flowers. And then I'd love to know which one is going to be your favorite once so you see all 3. Okay, so we're going to put the big flower down first. So there's 1 big one and 2 little ones. So we're just going to tuck that behind a little bit, and then we're going to grab some small dimensionals and put them on the little flowers. And just kind of stagger them here. So there's one there. And then one there. So fun. Here is our line card. Seems bright today here. Better, nah, it's okay. Have a zesty birthday. All right, let's show you the lemon one next. Sending you a big squeeze. I like that one. So the lemon, of course, is lemon lolly. So I did the same thing where you stamp it full strength for the outline, stamp it off for the center. And this time for my detail, I just stamped an extra little lemon wedge there to add on. And these dies, in case you're wondering, for this one and the next card are the Something Fancy dies, which are great for label shapes if you're looking for label shapes. So cute. So we've got the lime and the lemon. And then last but not least is the grapefruit. And I didn't think I was going to like the grapefruit one. I got to be honest, but I think it might be my favorite. So I don't know. And it's the grapefruit one. So thanks a bunch. So these are all sentiments from the Sweet Citrus stamp set. And so this one is Flirty Flamingo and Crushed Curry. So those are the perfect kind of colors for grapefruit. And this time I just cut a couple of the leaves, added it to the side, and again, just tied a little bow with the serve. Okay, can you hear me now? I don't know what we missed out on. It cut out a little bit. It's going to sound weird to end it off. So good thing that we're all done. So this is the set of 3 cards. And then this was the first one we made featuring the embossing folder. So I hope that you like these cards. Let me know in the comments which one's your favorite. I'd love to hear. And I will be taking next week off. And so I will see you in July, everybody. So take care. Bye-bye.